Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 407. I'm Phil Graham, and I'm glad you're here because today I'm going to be talking about 4 critical Facebook and Instagram ad metrics that you cannot ignore. These metrics are so important when you're running ads, and so many people either ignore them or use them in incorrect ways that can really affect your results. So I am super excited to share this with you guys today. There should be a lot of value in this episode. I cannot believe that this is the last episode of February. I feel like I was just recording the first episode of 2025. And here we are getting ready to go into March. This is crazy. The year is going by so fast, but I hope it's a great one for you so far. Before we get into the content, I wanted to do a little PSA. I'm going to try and keep this short, but it is super important because I see a lot of people getting taken advantage of, wasting a lot of time and wasting a lot of money. And I don't like that. So out there's more noise now than there has ever been. It is just absolutely insane. With every niche, with every topic, there's fake influencers, there's scammers, there's all kinds of crap out there. And so one of the things I want you to do when you're wanting to either learn something or get better at something, which I guess is the same thing as learning something, when you want to learn things, what I invite you to do is look at who you're learning from. And I'll give you a prime example. So I don't have much time to sit there and post on social media because guess what? I actually have an agency. I have clients. I've got to focus on that. And when I'm not doing that, I've got a family. I've got a life. From time to time, I'll take a look. Somebody will say, hey, what do you think of this person or this thing? And I'll look. And I did that the other day. And this person posted more in one day than I did in the last 3 years. I mean, they literally, there was probably 35 posts in one day. And then I kind of looked at previous days and it was the same thing. It's like all they do is post. It is insane. Now, could they have somebody doing this for them? Could they have it automated? Yes, that is certainly possible. So there are exceptions to this kind of stuff, but a lot of times it is the people doing nothing but posting, just spending their whole life on social media, acting like they're an expert at something without actually doing anything. So unless you want to learn how to post your life away all day, every day, then I advise you guys and recommend you stay away from all that BS because so many of those people have no clue what they're doing. They're just regurgitating other crap or using AI to spit out their posts and acting like they're influencers who know what's up. And the reason I know so much about this is because I get so many people coming to me after wasting time and or money following those types of people. And I feel really bad that they have to go through that. So just be careful who you listen to and focus on, who brings you value. And that's really just my little PSA for today's. If you guys are looking for some value, if you're looking for some help with your ads, maybe you want some one-on-one coaching, I think that's the best way in the world to learn ads and learn marketing and improve. So whether you want that or maybe you're looking for somebody to run your ads for you, for either one of those things, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. So sorry about that long PSA. I like to keep these episodes as short and full of value as possible, but I do see so many people getting taken advantage of. I had to mention it today. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about these 4 critical Facebook ad metrics that you cannot and should not ignore. So there's a lot of metrics that you need to know about and focus on and measure. There's link click-through rate, there's CPMs, there's cost per click, and there's many others. And those are all super important and you shouldn't ignore those either. But today I'm really going to cover the 4 that I would consider the most important over and above those. And these 4 really, in a large way, determine, or at least help determine what your return on ad spend is. So, what are the four? Let's talk about it. Number one, you should be always measuring what it costs for you to get a customer, as well as if you have anything that's lead related, how much it costs for you to get a lead, whether that's scheduling a call or getting someone on your email list. Those are a couple different things, but knowing the cost to get a lead, knowing the cost to get an email address, schedule a call, and then obviously, what does it cost to get a customer or client? That is insanely important. A lot of people don't really know, like they know how many they've gotten and how much they've spent, but they can't really put two and two together because they're doing other things. They're not sure where they're coming from, and they're kind of in a cloudy scenario there. And that's tough. You're not always going to know exactly either with some of these numbers because there are privacy things and iOS privacy issues that can cloud the data here and there. But if you consistently track and you've got a method for doing this and you just keep your eye on the ball, it's going to help you a lot to at least know more than if you don't track. So, what I want you guys to do is start focusing on knowing what it costs to get a customer and a client, as well as what it costs to get a lead. And then once you know those numbers, if you have the same way of tracking, it's kind of like if you were to weigh yourself on a scale. Even if the scale is not accurate, if you're using the same scale every time, then you're going to get good measurements to compare and contrast over time. So that's why it's important to start doing this if you have not already. What does it cost you to get a customer? And then also, you should know what the maximum amount you're willing to spend is on a customer or client, as well as on an email address. And so that kind of comes into the second most important metric that I think you guys need to measure and pay attention to. And that is not just the value of a customer or client, but the lifetime value of a customer or client. A lot of people make the mistake of only counting one sale the first time they become a customer or client. Well, if they only ever do one sale, then you didn't make a mistake. But for a lot of people, they sell things more than once. And you need to really think about what that lifetime value is. Now, if you're newer and you don't really know, then that's going to take some time. But for those of you who have been doing business for a while, you should be able to go back and look on average when a new customer comes on board. If it's subscription based, how long on average do they stay subscribed? If it's a product or service that's not subscription, what percentage of people order again? And approximately how much do you make over the life of an average customer? It's really important to know that, because how can you really know how much you're willing to spend to get a customer or client or a lead if you don't know what the lifetime value is? If you know what the lifetime value is, you have a huge edge and a huge advantage over somebody that doesn't pay attention to that. Because then it can allow you to spend more, or know maybe you're spending too much, but you know it, you're not guessing. So you really need to figure out what that lifetime value of an average customer is. And a lot of people will say, well, I've got some that stay a long time and some that don't. That's why you do it based off of an average. Go with averages, and you should have a pretty good number to work with. The third critical ad metric I want you guys to focus on is conversion rate. So whether you are doing this for leads or sales or both, you should always be tracking that. So when someone comes to your website and they're going to do something or not, they're either going to buy or they're not going to buy, or they're going to schedule a call or they're not, or they're going to give you their email for some download or they're not. Measuring that conversion rate is so important, because that conversion rate makes a big difference to your overall revenue, as well as return on ad spend and even profit. The better your conversion rate is, the better off you're going to be. And so what you really want to do is focus on, number one, where is your conversion rate at? And you want to look at this in a couple different windows of time. First of all, I would look at it in a large window of time if you've been doing business a while. So let's say last year, for the entirety of 2024, what was your conversion rate all year? And then the second thing I would do is I would look at shorter windows of time. So over the last 30 days, what's your conversion rate? and then even like the last 14 days. And then if you've been in business a while, you can also look at comparing similar times of the year when it comes to conversion rate, because sometimes the conversions go way up in certain times of the year and down in others. So you can compare versus the same period in the previous year. Now, this stuff sounds basic and it really is, but it blows my mind the amount of advertisers who either don't understand it or don't do it. Like a lot of people know that they should track this, but they don't really do it, which is insane. Like it's so important. Don't let that be you. Be the one that tracks it. And it's not enough to track this stuff. Why are we tracking it? So we have good visibility on what's going on. Because if you have that, then you can make a plan on how to make things even better. Or if they're not good, on how to fix things. So the conversion rates you're going to track are, of course, if you're selling, then what your conversion rate is on purchases. And then obviously you could have leads that you're tracking as well. You should be tracking how many people sign up and become a lead. And you're going to find that there's going to be certain pages or products or landing pages or offers that convert better than others. And you're going to be able to compare and contrast those over time. And then you're going to start figuring out why some worked better and others worked not as good. And that's how you can get better and try and improve your conversion rate. Because if you improve your conversion rate, that's going to make a big difference than if you just sit there with a low conversion rate. So make sure you're tracking that. And then the last thing that's really important is your average order value. So I do hear a lot of people talking about this in e-commerce, but this is also just as important even in non-e-commerce scenarios as well. Whether you're selling a one-time service, a subscription, a product, it doesn't matter. Your average order value is part of the equation and it's super important. So whatever that order value is, it's the same thing as conversion rate in terms of the timing of you looking at that, going back and looking at it in 1 year increment and 30 days, 14 days, and versus the same period last year. What you want to do is you want to see where you're at historically and recently with your average order value, number one. And then number two, you want to start thinking about what could you do to raise that up a little bit, whether that is raising your prices. That's one way to do it, but there's other ways. It might be bundling more than one product or service. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but here's the magic of it all. Those four things: the cost to get a customer or client or lead, the lifetime value, the conversion rate, and the average order value. The crazy thing is if you work and improve just one of those things, just that could make a big difference. But what if you took it to another level and instead of trying to improve one, you tried to improve all four? Can you imagine the effect that that could have on your business if you really not only effectively measured all four of those things, but improved them because you knew what they were and then you tested and followed the data and also avoided all the BS and the crap noise out there as well. And you made an effort to improve those four things consistently. What kind of difference could that make for your ads? And so I invite you guys to do that. I invite you to not only track these and try and improve them, don't just do it once. Make this an everyday thing. You know, you don't have to look at it every day, but I would say at least weekly, look at how you can improve this. And certainly monthly, at the worst case, every single month, all of these four things, you should have a plan for knowing where you're at and then making them better. And if they're already good, it doesn't mean they can't be better. And if it's bad, obviously, there's a lot of room to make it better. So you guys, I highly encourage you guys, focus on those four numbers. Like I said earlier, there's other numbers that are important, but these are my top four, and they all kind of work together to give you essentially what your return on ad spend is. There's other things you can focus on as well, like email open rate and your cost of doing business and all those things. But these four are the most common that I see either overlooked in the ad world, or they're not overlooked, but they're not used effectively or consistently. So if you can do that, that might give you an edge. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. So my friends, episode 407 is in the books. I hope it was helpful. There's a lot of value in here. Make sure you guys use it. Don't just listen, put it in action. I've got another great show for you guys next week. If you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I'll talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.